I'm going to try to get you guys not to do what we always do with sports in Philadelphia, and that's overreact. Sixers with a huge win last night. Still, people are complaining. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson changes his Instagram bio. Let's all overreact. Oh, guys, relax. We're going to try to relax on Trending in the AM this morning. It starts in 30 seconds.
Holding, gets around in front. Joel Embiid, and Philadelphia has it.
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow on all social media platforms. Do me that favor, turn those notifications on, and subscribe to the YouTube page. I'd greatly appreciate it. Best place to drop your comments, questions, thoughts, concerns, whatever it may be, on our Sixers, on our Eagles, and all the overreaction that's going on all over social media. Relax, guys. Relax. That's at least what I'm here to tell you to do. Relax. I am Phil Stifle, your host here at Trending in the AM. You can follow me on Twitter at Beard of Knowledge, where I will tell you as well to relax. You know, there is so much positive going on, and the overreaction is still extremely negative. So I'm trying to pull up every single thing here and make sure I'm sharing this all out all over the place. A little slow this morning. But anyway, Sixers, big win last night in Minnesota. They beat the Timberwolves 117-94. We're going to start there. We're going to get to Eagles and free agency and all that talk in a minute. But a big win. Game 5 of a 5-game road trip, okay? Game 5 of a 5-game road trip. Those 5 games were played in 7 days. You give James Harden the night rest last night, and you still come out and win by 23 points, 117-94. Yeah, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson would be a sad loss, and we are going to get to that. We are going to talk Eagles in the second half of this show, Rio. But this is the overreaction. We haven't lost. Oh, my God, the bookie was disrespecting us yesterday on the Sixers game. We were 2-point dogs. But the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and I can link that to the Sixers, which is what I want to talk about as well. Overreaction, just because he deleted his bio, he's just part of the negotiation process. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a bold personality that wants to talk big, trash talk. Just because he deletes some things, it does not mean he's gone. Remember last year there was a point that the Eagles thought it was Marcus Epps and whoever else were going to be the starting safeties. And then Howie Roseman goes out and gets Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He knows the value of safety on this team. I'm not worried. Big win last night. And instead, KC, I go on Twitter this morning, and I see people talking about how they wish Isaiah Joe was on this team still. Yeah, maybe we let one get away with Isaiah Joe. But Isaiah Joe is playing on the 11th seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going to pull up a tweet here. My man, Mr. Crockpot, I love him. He's been on the show before. I've been on his shows before. But he puts out a tweet this morning. Isaiah Joe has hit 3 or more three-pointers made 21 times this year. That's 2 more than Melton, 2 more times than Maxey, 7 more times than Tobias Harris, 21 more times than P.J. Tucker this year. Who cares? Why do we care what Isaiah Joe is doing? Oh, we're going to talk about this as well. But why do so many people care what Isaiah Joe is doing? If you take Furkan Korkmaz, who got in last night, made a couple shots. Yay, go team for Furkan. You take Furkan off this team and put Isaiah Joe on. He still ain't getting any minutes on this team. We don't know if he's any good or not on this team. There is no room on this team for Isaiah Joe. If you want Isaiah Joe to get minutes on this team, then that means you're getting rid of DeAnthony Melton probably. And everybody complains about Tyrese Maxey's defense. Well, let me tell you something. Isaiah Joe can't guard me. And that's not a knock on Isaiah Joe at all. And that's not pumping me up. I ain't no basketball player anymore. But Isaiah Joe couldn't guard anybody when he was in Philly, and he hasn't gotten any better than that. Yeah, he's getting some playing time, so he's knocking down his shots. But after we win 5 games in 7 days, or 4 games in 7 days, 5 games in 7 days, yeah, absolutely. Like I just don't get why everybody is so hung up on Isaiah Joe. We should be celebrating this team. And the fact that they just played 5 games in 7 days and won 4 of them, all on the road. Yet I've got to see people talking about still the Isaiah Joe. What are you going to do with Isaiah Joe on this team? Where is his minutes going to come from? You just went out without James Harden, mind you, last night and beat a playoff team, a team in the Minnesota Timberwolves that's better than Isaiah Joe's Oklahoma City Thunder team, at least in the standings. You give James Harden a night off, and you're able to still load management, old school style, Joel Embiid. He only played 28 minutes. Maxey only had to play 31 last night. You're able to get the bench guys run last night. Yet, let's talk about Isaiah Joe. I'm sure somebody wants to talk about Charles Bassey or who's the other one that's out there doing well now. I'm drawing a blank. Everybody's always worried about who they used to have instead of worrying about what you have. And what you have in the Sixers team, whether we overreact or underreact to every win and loss this team has, I get that. That's what we do as fans. We overreact. But instead of worrying about the fact that this Sixers team is the best Sixers team we've had in the Joel Embiid era, we're worried about what we don't have in a guy that would probably be playing 5 minutes a game if he was still on this roster. And it's not a knock on Isaiah Joe's skill set. It's just saying how much better everybody else is on this team that's getting regular minutes. I'm going up and down last night. We didn't have James Harden. And you're looking at the minutes that were allocated. Furkan Korkmaz got 5 mop-up duty minutes. It's the first time he's seen the court in God knows how long. Shake Milton played 22. 5 of them were probably mop-up minutes. Had 4 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. You feel like giving up Shake Milton's minutes to Isaiah Joe? He plays 12 to 15 minutes a game. Daniel House Jr. played 12 minutes last night, finally working his way back in the rotation. George Niang, you're not going to give George Niang's minutes. Jalen McDaniels, don't call me Josh, played 17 minutes last night. I mean, I would have liked to have seen him back in the starting lineup again. D'Anthony Melton played 32 minutes. Yeah, you might want to put D'Anthony Melton back on the bench, and he probably will be back on the bench once Harden's back. Yeah, exactly. What a weird time, Rio, for people to be bringing this up. Is it third? I mean, I'm not a statistical expert. I don't know where they rank, specifically, but I know the offense is damn good. And they're worried about what we don't have. And that's what pisses me off, confuses me, breaks my heart. I mean, you look at this last 5-game stretch, that game against Dallas, just nobody on Dallas could miss a shot. Kyrie and Luka were just lights out that game. And guess what? If Isaiah Joe was trying to guard Kyrie Irving in that game, dude, we would have lost that game by 30. Ah, man, and back to Rio's original point back here, remember in yesterday's show, disrespecting us with that line. I don't know what the line ended up at, but, man, it started the show at 1 point. We were 1-point dogs yesterday in the morning, and then I got a message from my man Adam after the show that it already moved to 2-point dogs for the Sixers. I know that was probably because they thought Harden was going to sit or Joel Embiid or maybe both of them were going to sit. Maybe it was because of the back-to-back and all that. But seriously, that was such massive disrespect on Bookie's part right there. All right, we got a special guest joining us today on the I Have No Sponsor hotline. I didn't really have time to promote this. This was a last-second throw together here. So we got my man, Mitch Kofsky. He's got his great YouTube channel. He does a lot of live streams and stuff like that. A lot of Sixers, Eagles, and just Philly sports talk in general. This is your first time on Trending in the AM this morning, Mitch. Good morning.
Yeah, it is, and I'm tired.
That's my life, man. I wake up tired every single day, Mitch. And I don't know if you caught this first 10 minutes of the show here, but we're talking about this. We're starting with Sixers. We'll move into free agency. People want to talk about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But and we got a fan already of yours on here, Money Mitch. from my
Hey,
man.
what up?
Um, we're talking about the Sixers, and we're talking about why. The first thing I do when I wake up this morning, I get onto Twitter to check any news and what people are saying. Instead of talking about the fact that we just went 4-1 on a 5-game road trip
Yeah.
where we played in 7 days, 5 games. Instead of celebrating that, we're talking about on Twitter still missing Isaiah Joe, comparing that Isaiah Joe's got more 3-point, big games than anybody on our team. Why? Why is that what this Sixers team or fan base is hung up on? We should be celebrating this run right now, not what ifing. Guys from the past. Isaiah Joe would be getting Furkan Korkmaz's minutes if he was on this team, and it's not a knock on Isaiah Joe. It's how deep this team is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy because, all of the trades we made in the past, like Mikal Bridges and all that stuff, right? So we just had enough of trading all these good players and just having them, blossom into something that we could not get. I mean, look at Thibault right now in Portland, and we're against them on Friday. So it's just like, I just guess we had enough and we just want a fresh start. It's the same thing over and over.
But if you want to talk about Mikal Bridges, okay, at least he's a superstar in the NBA. We're talking about Isaiah Joe, a guy that's a bench guy on a mediocre team that plays. He only gets 15 to 17 minutes a game in OKC. If that's all he can muster over there, we're talking about an adequate, average NBA player, and it's not a knock on Isaiah Joe. He's going to have a good career in the NBA.
Yeah.
Matisse has played 8 games in Portland. I'm putting the brakes on him. You want to say we missed the boat on Mikal Bridges, obviously.
Yeah.
But we're talking about bench players. 2 weeks ago we had to talk about Charles Bassey should have been still on this team. The guy's playing 12 minutes a game in San Antonio. Has got 14 wins.
Yeah.
Everybody's always hung up on the past and not the present.
Yeah. Yeah, including me. I'm hung up on the past, but I'm trying to get on the present here. I'm trying. But when it comes to all these players, you got to talk about Doc Rivers, right? And him not playing all these young guys. So Isaiah Joe not getting minutes. Bassey not getting minutes. Tariq's getting good minutes now. He's getting more good minutes, so we got to talk about that. But I just guess with the coach and everyone leaving, it's just what could have been.
Yeah, it's what could have been, and I know you're not a Doc Rivers fan. I'm not a Doc Rivers fan either. I will give Doc Rivers credit. This has been his best year as a Sixers head coach. He still makes plenty of baffling decisions game to game.
Yeah.
But out of his last 3 years here in Philly, he is doing his best job coaching this year compared to the last couple. And yes, maybe in years past he could have given some of these guys minutes, but at the expense of who? If you think about it, we have our best team this year, but in years past, were you going to give Charles Bassey minutes instead of Andre Drummond? Were you going to give Isaiah Joe minutes instead of who was coming off our bench instead of Melton last year? Danny Green. Danny Green, was an important part of this team before he got hurt.
Yeah.
It's when you're built to win now. Isaiah Joe wouldn't be getting minutes on the Milwaukee Bucks. He wouldn't be getting minutes on the Boston Celtics because they're built to win a title right now. And that's where I think it's people misunderstand. If we were in the early part of the process where we were fighting for the 4th or 5th seed and we just hope to get to the second round, sure, you could try to develop these guys, in my opinion. But when you're trying to develop guys and win a title at the same time, it just doesn't happen.
It doesn't. And here's another thing too, right? A lot of these fans on Twitter, because they DM me like crazy. I hope they do the same thing with you.
I get it too.
It's just people are thinking we're second round exits, and I'm leaning towards that route because it's the same thing over and over again.
And I get that, and I feel that way too. And I know it's hard for fans to get over the past. And this story has been read. It's not like one of I don't know if you remember, Mitch, when you were a kid, those books. You open it, you read a page at the bottom, it says, if you want this result, turn to page 37. If you want this result, turn to page 42. That's not what this NBA story is for the Sixers. It's been a book. We've read it. It's going to be the same results we feel. But also, let's be honest. Where are we? We are 43-22. 21 games up with 21 games above 500. This is a damn good basketball team. It doesn't mean they get out of the second round. But if they can find a way to avoid the Boston Celtics, they can. I mean, you look at it. They have gone on. I'm going to pull up their schedule real quick here on the side screen. You look at this, the games that they've played recently and the teams they've beat. Milwaukee, lost to Dallas, beat Miami, almost beat Boston, beat Memphis, beat Cleveland, beat Brooklyn, beat New York, lost to Boston again, beat, Orlando. Well, Orlando's not good. Beat Denver, beat Brooklyn, beat Sacramento, beat Brooklyn, beat the Clippers, beat the Lakers, beat Utah. They've beaten, outside of Boston, almost every single elite team in this NBA right now. So maybe the story is different this year.
Who knows? We got to wait and see, right? We got to wait and see. And a lot of these Sixers fans are calling me Mr. Negative Nancy. I'm like, hey, I've seen this many times. So I'm like, can I see something new?
So then let me ask you, what do they have to do? They have 17 games left. What do they have to do in these games? Because I don't think the win-loss record matters as much as certain little X's and O's kind of things. Can the Sixers do anything for you, Mitch, Mr. Negative Mitch? Can they do anything over the next 17 games that will change your opinion going to the playoffs? Or is it going to be not till the end of the playoffs till your opinion's changed?
I just got to wait and see, bro. For me, it's just like I could see the wrong. I want to be proven wrong like how it was with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Okay. I'm just saying I like being the guy being proven wrong.
Yeah.
I hate being right. I hate it.
As long as you're willing to admit, like I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong. And I'm wrong 9 times out of 10 on this show. I'm almost always wrong on this show. And people don't let me forget that I was wrong. I was right on Jalen Hurts, and we'll get to Jalen Hurts in a minute. So Rio was asking earlier, do you want Tobias back in the starting lineup? I'll get Mitch's opinion in a second. I did want Tobias back in the starting lineup. I did not want PJ Tucker back in the starting lineup, Rio. I think PJ Tucker, I know we're going to supposedly see what PJ Tucker's all about come playoff time, but Jalen McDaniels earned the right to get some more consistent minutes. You had James Harden out last night, so you had the opportunity, even with Tucker and Tobias being back, you had an opportunity to leave Jalen McDaniels back in the starting lineup. And instead, he went back to, I think he was 8th on the team in minutes played last night. So you could have capitalized on that Jalen McDaniels momentum, and you didn't. Tobias, to me, has to be a starter, but Tucker does not. What's your thoughts on the starting rotation in the starting lineup in general? Where do you think the Sixers should be with their starting lineup, barring everybody's health?
For the starting lineup, I think Tobias should be in there because it was actually funny. I was talking about this on my live stream last night in the game. And as much as I don't like Tobias at all because of that contract, he had a great game last night. That game he had last night, he had 14 rebounds, a double-double. I mean, that's the kind of guy we need game in and game out. So if I could get that, perfect. Keep him in the lineup. But can we have McDaniels in the starting lineup, please, over PJ Tucker? That's just me. Because PJ Tucker, we all know.
Like I tried to say yesterday on the morning show that to pump the brakes a little bit on Jalen McDaniels. I mean, it was one game in the starting lineup. It was one game where no defense was played on either side. That I think me and you, Mitch, we could have been making buckets in that game. That's how easy it was to make a bucket in that game on today's so Monday night. Me and you could have been making buckets on Monday night. But you do. This is the problem with people talking about Isaiah Joe and Charles Bassey and all these other guys is that you had momentum with them. You want to see what McDaniels has got. I'm not even saying you have to start him in the playoffs, but maybe capitalize on that momentum. Maybe capitalize on that push and help build a young guy's confidence level by you had a great game. Let's see you do it again. Let's see if you can do it 2 or 3 days in a row. What harm would it do at this point? And that to me is the biggest knock on Doc Rivers is when you've got a little momentum, you just go back to what you're supposed to do because that's what the NBA blueprint is. And that I think is the mistake.
Yeah.
What's up, Joe? How you doing, my man?
What up, Joe?
Yeah, so that being said, I think this Sixers team, I think they're in a good spot, Mitch. I mean, they've got a couple days off, couple games at home. You got Portland on Friday night, Washington on Sunday, afternoon, night, whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to that game on Sunday.
Oh, on Sunday at 6 o'clock. No, Sunday's off the books for me. Sunday is the Players' Championship final round. As a golf bettor, That's one of my
I
go-to
love
days.
golf, dude. I love golf, but when my friend asked me to go to a game, I got to take it.
If I was invited to the game, I probably would take it too over the PGA or Players Championship. But like I said, they got 17 games. They've got a couple tough games left on their matchup. They got a road game in Cleveland coming up next week. But they pretty much got through the tough stretch of their schedule. Do you want to see this Doc Rivers team, be resting? Like last night, James Harden got a break. Do you want to see them give a little bit more time to Joel Embiid, to James Harden, to these guys to get them ready? And in that sense, you give an opportunity like Paul Reed to get more minutes, Jalen McDaniels to get more minutes. I think they should be taking advantage of these next 17 games, which is a little easier of a schedule. Maybe 2 games without Joel Embiid. Maybe 3 games without James Harden. What do you think?
I love it when Joel Embiid rests because last night, did he get injured? Because he was out all fourth quarter.
He was not injured last night. He always – so – and this is another knock on – this is one of my things I hate about Doc Rivers is this is how he plays Joel Embiid. It doesn't matter what the game flow is. He plays Joel Embiid. Not 11 minutes of 12 in the first quarter. He sits for 6 minutes between end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter. Then he plays the entire third quarter and then has to sit for 6 minutes in the fourth quarter just because you only play him so much. The Sixers just had too big of a lead. There was never any need to put him in. So you were able to get that old school load management out of him, which was important. So that, to me, I know these guys need rest. I want to see the Sixers team take care of business like last night. So you could play Joel Embiid 28 minutes instead of 38. So you could play Tyrese Maxey 31 instead of 39. James Harden. How many times has James Harden played 40 minutes this year? Way too many times for a 34-year-old guy.
Too many.
Honestly, if it comes down to the stretch for them, who drops shots when Harden and Embiid are off?
Maxey?
I think that's a fair question. But, yeah, KC. I mean, Tyrese Maxey, the last 3 or 4 games, getting him back in that starting lineup where he belonged the whole entire time has gotten him back on track. His confidence is there. The quick trigger, I don't know, Mitch, if you say it, but when he takes a shot the last 2 or 3 games, there's no hesitation there. It's boom. It's a shot or it's right to the rim. Got to be Tobias and Maxey with no hesitation. Yeah, both those guys are such – Tobias and Tyrese, they're momentum guys. If their confidence and momentum are going in the right direction, they're lights out. But especially Tobias, when his frustrations and his momentum stops, the guy could be a big detriment to your team.
Yeah.
So really, though, realistically speaking, Mitch, before we move on to Eagles, because I really wanted to talk a lot of free agency today, and I wanted to talk a lot of Eagles today. If you had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, your confidence level in this Sixers team as they enter the playoffs, where's your confidence level at right now?
It used to be like at a 4.
Not to be negative. We like to be positive on the morning show.
It used to be like a 4, but now I'm like a 7.
Okay, all right.
I'm like at a 7.
That's actually. I'm happy that that we're moving you to the positive side a little bit.
Come on! I've seen this team game in and game out. Like people in my network, the Hardcore Sports Network, they're Philadelphia fans. They came and watch the Sixers because they know the end result. Like he would rather stream the Boston Celtics against the Cavs, and here I am streaming the Sixers.
So KC saying a hard 6. See, I agree with you guys at the 6-7 confidence. See, I'm kind of in that 6-7 until we or if we can avoid the Celtics. I'm a 9-10 because we've in this stretch in the last month or two, we have literally beaten every good team in the NBA. So why, as long as you don't have to play the Celtics, there's no reason why this team can't get to.
You beat the Bucks in 7.
I think it'll be a close, hard-fought matchup. But we've beaten the Bucks this year, so we've proven we can beat them. It's like Joel says, Mitch. The Celtics aren't our rivalry because they whoop our ass every single time we play them.
Yeah.
We could beat the Celtics. Which, hold on, let me pull the schedule back up. Do we have the Celtics anymore this year?
Yeah, April 4th.
April 4th. We got one more game against the Celtics to prove, and that's a tough stretch right there. To close the season, you go from March. You go Denver. Oh shit, we'll go back further. We go Golden State, Phoenix, Denver, all on the West Coast. Dallas, Toronto, Milwaukee, Boston, Miami.
Oh my god,
that's a killer. That's the next killer stretch. So you got to get. But to me, it's almost important for them to get that W against Boston than any of the other games. They can lose almost every one of those other games. They get that W against Boston.
If Embiid's shot counted, we were not even having this conversation.
Yeah, I don't. There's so many other things that could have happened in that game that shot wouldn't have been necessary.
Right.
I'd rather look at it in that sense. All right, so we're here on Trending in the AM, right here on the DSM Media Network. Again, if you're watching, like, subscribe, turn notifications on after the show. I'll add links to Mitch's network and shows. This was a last-second plan together, a little get-together here with my man Mitch Kofsky. Make sure you check him out. Just follow him on Twitter, @Mitch Kofsky. You can find all his links in his bio to all his YouTube channels and shows he does. But, Mitch, I want to talk Eagles a little bit.
Yeah.
And NFL free agency as a whole. Because, honestly, what's going on with the quarterback situation in the NFL? Oh, my God. If Jalen Hurts doesn't get like $700 billion in his contract, he's going to be underpaid based off of what Daniel Jones and all these other guys are getting. Oh, there we go. We're switching. Is that your office there at the link? I like that.
I'm right here at the link.
I like that, dude. That totally caught me off guard right there. Totally love that background right there, my man. Before we get to the quarterbacks, though, two things yesterday on the Eagles front. Okay. One, strong rumors, strong indications that Brandon Graham is going to be brought back. About a 2-year, $11 million, $12 million contract. To me, that's a smart move. It's a fair price, and it's one of those guys. We don't want another Brian Dawkins situation where one of the legends of our team move on later in their career. You could do much worse than 11 sacks from Brandon Graham for $6 million a year next year, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What? How important is it, Mitch, that they're bringing back a leader of Brandon Graham's level?
Very important. Are you sure? Whatever Brandon Graham has done, he's a heart and soul of this defense. He can lead this team to a victory. We've seen it time and time again, and especially after a heartbreak in the Super Bowl, we need a guy like that in the locker room.
Yeah, if you're going to lose Fletcher Cox, if you're going to lose Isaac Seumalo, if you're going to lose Javon Hargrave, all these veteran pieces that were leaders on this team, you got to find a way to keep one leader. And if you're going to keep one leader, there's nobody better than Brandon Graham to keep around. So it seems like that is pretty much a done deal. What isn't a done deal, though, is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And here comes the next thing where I'm trying to get everybody, Mitch, to calm down, relax. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a diva, I guess is the way I want to say it.
Yeah.
Ego. He talks a lot of trash. He's in negotiations with the Eagles. They did not franchise tag him. And I wasn't expecting him to because Howie never uses the franchise tag. And everyone just assumes because we didn't franchise tag him and we don't have a deal done yet with him that he's automatically gone. He goes on his Instagram page, wipes the Eagles, just says NFL safety on his Instagram bio now. Yeah, I get that. That's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's personality. He's sending a message to Howie Roseman, his agent and the Eagles, to get me paid. Now, he may not stay. There is a chance he leaves. But to all the Eagles fans that are totally jumping off the side of the boat because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's already in another city in uniform, I think you guys got to slow down. Free agency doesn't even begin till next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Slow down. There's 8-9 more days where Howie can negotiate with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. There are 8-9 more days for Howie Roseman to figure this out, for him and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to get a deal done. I'm not worried whether we keep him or don't keep him. Like, honestly, Mitch, here's another thing that was going through my head. We got a new defensive coordinator in Sean Desai.
Yeah.
Maybe Chauncey Gardner-Johnson doesn't fit his defensive scheme that he wants to run next year.
That's possible.
There's a lot of possible. There's only so much money to spend. There's a lot that's going to go into this at safety. I am not freaking out like everybody else. Are you ready to freak out that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson changed his bio on Instagram? That means he's all automatically out of here.
Dude, I woke up, go on my phone, see everything, and I'm like, why is everyone panicking? It's the beginning of it. It didn't even start yet. Oh my God, it's just crazy how Philadelphia fans, sports fans, freak out over every little thing. Gotta relax. I'm with you on that, man. I'm waiting for it to unfold.
Think about it this way, Mitch. I mean, you do this Eagles. I mean, you obviously work in the front office of the Eagles there with that background.
Yeah.
Everybody was freaking out because last year it seemed like it was going to be Marcus Epps and whoever the other guy was at safety. And we didn't even bring Chauncey Gardner-Johnson until what? August? Mid-August he was brought to Philly? Relax. Howie Roseman knows what he's doing. We spent an entire year hyping up Executive of the Year Howie Roseman and the great job he did. And as soon as we lose the Super Bowl, all of a sudden, everybody thinks Howie Roseman's this bad GM again and doesn't know what it takes. He's now built 2 Super Bowl winning teams, or 1 winning Super Bowl, 1 losing in the Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowl getting to teams in 5 years. Let's have a little faith. And yes, Scotty, I get it. Chauncey's very versatile and he can fit in most schemes. I get that. That's probably an accurate statement from you. But again, he's also a big personality. Him changing bios, tweeting out pictures, and doing this and that, that's just what you get. We didn't see this in Chauncey last offseason. He wanted to get paid last offseason. He wanted an extension, or he wanted to be traded. He got traded. He's one of those guys that's going to speak his mind, and that's why we like him here in Philly. That's why he fits in with this Philadelphia fan base so well. But if you like that personality, you got to expect at this point, this is what you're going to get. You sign him to a 3 or 4 year big deal here, and he outplays his next contract. When it's time for an extension, even if he's got a year left, he's going to be talking trash again. This is what Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is. He is one of those bold personalities that's going to speak his mind, and this is what you get. I mean, do you agree with that, Mitch?
Do I agree with? Yeah.
Do you agree that this is just what you get with a player like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? A big, not a big mouth, an outspoken mouth, an outspoken guy that's going to stir the pot a little bit to make sure he's maxing his value as a person and as a player.
I love him in Philly. I love him. Everyone does. People say that he reminds them of Brian Dawkins. Like he has the same play style as Dawkins and the same mentality, same heart, and everything. So
I mean, the heart and the mentality, I agree with. He definitely plays with the same energy and heart as Brian Dawkins. And look, no first offers can be accepted. Exactly, Casey. It's a negotiation. Everything's a negotiation in life. Hey, literally everything we do is a negotiation. Howie's got the. I still don't understand why so many people are freaking out about Howie Roseman on social media. He literally just rebuilt a team in less than 2 years and got them to the Super Bowl. Every move he made, he might have made too many deals with the devil last year and made too many perfect decisions last year. You know, he got lucky. The story came out again yesterday that before A.J. Brown, he had a deal on the table with Allen Robinson. Then Allen Robinson backed out and went to the Rams, and then he was forced to trade for A.J. Brown. Howie Roseman got lucky there. Let's not beat around the bush. That was pure luck on Howie's part that worked out that way. But Howie knows what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Howie Roseman has been here before. Now, you can't let everybody walk, but you also can't sign everybody. They're up against it with the cap. And guys, I've got the free agent safety list up here on the side screen. Well, I did. Uh-oh. Let's refresh that screen there. Get it back to the safeties there. Excuse me. You lose them? Jesse Bates is a free agent. He's the one I wanted last year instead of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Jordan Poyer, Jimmy Ward, Adrian Amos, Devin McCourty. He's older, but still a very valuable safety. Hell, Eric Rowe, former Eagle. We let that one get away. There are names out there that if you lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Howie has now seen that you need a safety here. You can't get by with, Marcus Epps and Chauncey and Reed Blankenship. That's not going to get the job done. You need one elite safety, especially in this type of defense. He's going to get the job done. It took till mid-August last year. Patience. I preach, Mitch, to everybody. Patience. Don't freak out on the first day. Dude, I don't know if you remember, Mitch. Last year's free agency started. We signed the big splash right away in Hassan Reddick.
Yep.
For 24 hours. And then we did nothing for like 2 weeks after that. Nothing at all. And everybody was freaking out that it was the most disappointing, bust. Howie was doing a terrible job free agency. And guess what? Comes down to having the best offseason probably in all of football. So patience with Howie, right? Why are people so easily, are they still frustrated on the Super Bowl loss? Are they, look, what's got everybody so down on Howie in this offseason? I know there's cap issues, but isn't it in Howie we trust? For
me, it's Howie we trust because what he's been doing is just amazing to me. And actually, one of my co-hosts on MK Headlines, excuse me, He is so nervous. Like, he hated that Sean Desai hire. He hated it. So he keep on saying like all this negative stuff. Like Jalen Hurts he wants Jalen Hurts to get 2 years instead of all that stuff. I'm like, bro, just calm down, man. Just calm down.
I've seen some crazy reactions to the Jalen Hurts situation, and you look at it. You look at the last 2 days. Geno Smith, 3 years, $100 million. Derek Carr, 4 years, $150 million. Daniel Jones, 4 years, $160 million.
Yep.
And the Ravens still can't get a deal done with Lamar Jackson. That to me is insane. Man, Jalen Hurts, guys, do not be surprised. I had one of my customers at my pizza shop come in and was saying that he hopes that he gets more of a Patrick Mahomes deal where it's a 10-year deal and it stretches it out the money a little bit further. And it got me thinking maybe that's the right option.
I've heard that a lot of times.
But Daniel Jones is getting $40 million a year. Daniel Jones, $40 million. Let me say it one more time. Daniel Jones, $40 million a year. Then Jalen Hurts has got to be worth 55.
Yeah.
And if I'm Jalen Hurts' agent, I'm in there asking for 60 and hoping to get 55. It's all in negotiation. You don't take first offers. What does the people that say that they don't want to give Jalen Hurts that kind of a contract? What else do they have to see? I mean, honestly, you're not. I said it on yesterday's show, Mitch, that first and foremost, Jalen Hurts' contract does not affect 2023 because he's still under his rookie deal. So they still can spend that money on other players. But 2-3 years into Jalen Hurts' deal, these prices, these contracts just keep going up and up and up. For quarterbacks, in 3 years, $55 million for Jalen Hurts will probably be a steal. Because the quarterbacks, you can see based off of the deals that the quarterbacks are getting, mediocre quarterbacks are getting this offseason. It's still a quarterback-driven league, and teams are going to spend on quarterbacks no matter what.
Yep.
Where do you think the Jalen Hurts contract will end up being? Not what you want it to be, but where do you think it will end up in the spectrum of things?
5 years, around 200 mil. I think it's around that ballpark. And honestly,
that's not going to happen. He's not going to sign for the same amount of a yearly salary as Daniel Jones. 200 is 40 a year.
Yeah, maybe 220. I don't know, 210, around that ballpark.
It's going to be a lot more than that.
Yeah, a lot.
Is Howie sitting next to you there? Are you feeding some information from Howie there?
Oh no, it's Jonathan Gannon picking up his bags.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But
I don't think they let him back in the building. I think they FedEx those bags back to him in Arizona.
I don't know, man. He's right over there.
They had some secretary boxing his stuff up and putting it in. They didn't even overnight his stuff, Mitch. They put it in the long-term USPS, mail, whatever, 10, 12 days, whatever it takes. I don't care. Your meds, you need these to survive. I don't care. They're just going to get put in the box.
But let me ask you and your community this. Is Jalen Hurts the best quarterback in the NFC right now?
In the NFC?
In the NFC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can page through this quick enough on my Twitter page from yesterday. Actually wasn't super active, so I could probably find this. Someone put out a post. Here it is. Warren Sharp. And the rumors that Lamar Jackson could go to somewhere in the NFC. Some people are saying Washington. Some people are saying Atlanta. Basically, this guy's post was if Lamar Jackson went to the NFC, he'd be the number one quarterback in the NFC. I don't agree with that, but he's got all the projected starters in the NFC on teams here. And Jalen Hurts, who's better than him in the NFC? Jalen Hurts is a top 4 quarterback, period, in the NFL, in my opinion.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
top 3. Top 3, maybe even. But none of these guys in the NFC, even if Aaron Rodgers stays with the Packers, which I don't think he will, he's still the best quarterback in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the list of guys projected at this point to start, it's going to change because Washington isn't going to go with Sam Howell. They'll probably make a move. Tampa probably won't go with one of their young kids. They'll probably make a move. There'll be some moves that happen here. But as it stands now, it's Dak Prescott, it's Jordan Love, it's Justin Fields, it's Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray might be one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFC, and he's coming off a terrible season. So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. But Jalen Hurts, I have to disagree. You said 5 years, about $200 million. If he gets a 5-year deal, it's going to be in the north of $270 million.
I didn't want to say that, but I agree.
I mean, Deshaun Watson got 250.
Right.
Kyler Murray got 240. Lamar Jackson turned down 250. It's going to be 270 at least, 275 at least, if it's a 5-year deal. I'm hoping. What was Patrick Mahomes' deal? I think it was like 10 years, $450 million. I mean, it was
It's
years.
gotta be like that.
It was something like that. It was, but at that time, $45 million a year was the most. He's going to sign for the most. It's just a difference of whether he waits to see what kind of deals get done with Lamar or any of the other quarterbacks to see, because everyone wants to be the highest paid quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And once Jalen Hurts signs, then Joe Burrow is going to sign. Then once Joe Burrow signs, then Justin Herbert's going to sign. And once he signs, and Lamar Jackson's everybody's going to want to outdo the other. So that's why these deals will seem big at first, but then big picture they won't. I still can't get over this whole Lamar Jackson situation in Baltimore.
I can't either.
I mean, this guy, you've got a quarterback, an MVP caliber quarterback, I know, hurt last year. They refused to build the offense around him.
Mm-hmm.
They refused to commit to him long term. Basically, by putting the non-conditional franchise tag on him, he's free to negotiate anywhere, and Baltimore can match or get 2 first-round picks out of it. So basically, you're telling me that Baltimore, at this point, would rather 2 first-round picks, 2 future first-round picks, than Lamar Jackson. They're insane. I mean, think about it. They already offered him $250. He turned it down. Another team, whoever it may be. I've heard rumors about Washington, Atlanta. One of these teams will offer him more than $250. They'll offer him $260, $270. If Baltimore wasn't willing to go up on that, why would they now? You know what I mean? So to think about it, they're basically giving away Lamar Jackson for 2 future first-round picks, which is going to set that franchise back so far. Why not just pay the guy? Guy like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, they don't grow on trees. Everybody's always chasing the next Patrick Mahomes, but they don't always exist. When you got one, you got to do what you can do to save them. I don't know. What's this here? Crazy to think Joe Flacco, 6-year, $100. That was a big contract.
Oh my God.
Remember when Donovan McNabb got $100 million, and we thought that was insane from Washington? I mean,
Yeah.
big deals. I mean, they just keep going up. But Casey, I talked about it yesterday on the show. It's not that these deals that they're signing now, these quarterbacks, $40 million a year for Daniel Jones sounds like a lot, but honestly, in a year or two, that's going to be middle of the pack for a quarterback. It really is.
Maybe even below that.
Maybe even below middle. Actually, absolutely. The salary cap just keeps going up $15, $20 million a year. These numbers just keep going up. The NFL makes so much freaking money that it's a quarterback-driven league. Everybody wants a quarterback. You have to have a quarterback to succeed. And even if you have a mediocre quarterback, you're gonna pay him. And I just don't know what the game plan is in Baltimore. And Mitch, where I'm located in Kennett Square, southern Chester County, I'm equal distance to Baltimore as Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Even though we're in a Philadelphia town, Comcast Sport or NBC Sports Philly is what's on the TV here. There's just as many Baltimore fans as Philly fans in my town.
Oh wow.
And I just don't. I feel for them. Like, you got a guy like Lamar Jackson, and you can't come to terms with where would you put Lamar Jackson? I mean, he would be number 6 or 7 quarterback in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Hurts are better. You can argue that Lamar Jackson's better than Justin Herbert, honestly, in my opinion. Justin Herbert hasn't won anything in the playoffs yet.
No.
You can argue that Lamar Jackson is still the 5th or 6th best quarterback in the NFL. Maybe 7th if you want to put Trevor Lawrence in that Herbert Jackson,
I love
conversation.
how you put him above Prescott. I love that.
Look. You're not going to get me bashing Dak Prescott. You'll get me bashing the Cowboys, but I'm a Dak Prescott guy. I think Dak Prescott's a very good 8th, 9th, 10th best quarterback in the NFL. You could do worse in the NFL than Dak Prescott. You could do better, but you could also do worse. You put Dak Prescott on a better run organization where they're not spending $27 million on 2 beat-up running backs, you might see a better Dak Prescott. You put him in an offense not run by Mike McCarthy, you might see a better Dak Prescott. I am not a Dak Prescott hater. I think he's a great guy, a great family guy. He does a lot of good stuff for communities and towns he's in. I don't bash the guy, but he's not anywhere near that top 6 or 7 category, in my opinion.
To me, he's overrated. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would see him if you put him with a coach like Doug Peterson or you put him with a coach in. Let me think real quick off the top of my head. Put him in. I'm just trying to think of these teams. Put him in Cincinnati. He'd be better. He might not be as good as Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. All right, Joe Bucci. Next move for the Eagles. Well, the next move is they can't make any moves other than their own free agents till next Wednesday. So if they're going to make a move before next Wednesday, it's changing what everybody thinks, which is everybody's freaking out about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. It's they find a way to lock up Chauncey Gardner-Johnson before free agency. Is there a scenario in your head, Mitch, where they're letting Chauncey Gardner-Johnson walk, trading Darius Slay, and keeping James Bradbury? Because I've kind of shouted this out a few times. I've kind of hinted at that's a possibility in my mind. Do you see that scenario playing out possibly?
I can see that happening. I can see that because with Darius Slay's contract, it's going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to be tougher to pay that contract. We have 17 to 20 free agents to worry about here. Mm-hmm. Like, this doesn't come around too often. So we got to make some moves that are going to hurt, like the Gardner-Johnson where everyone's crying over. I'm telling you right now, it's going to get harder. It's going to be more difficult as the offseason goes on. So just be prepared.
I mean, obviously, there has been talk already that Darius Slay will get restructured. I forget who it was. I think it might have been Ed Kratz from Sports Illustrated. I think he put out a story yesterday that the negotiations on restructuring Slay are already happening. So actually, the next move you might see, Joe, is the announcement that Darius Slay's contract has been restructured. I'm just throwing it out there. If they can't work out the restructuring, that they might try to trade him. But you're not going to be able to pay him and Bradbury. We know that. You're not going to be able to pay, many of these guys. Like you said, there's a lot of free agents. You're going to see the restructure of his deal, probably. You're going to see the restructure of Lane Johnson's deal, probably. That opens up more cap space. I hinted at it the other day. Jake Elliott's like a near $6 million cap hit. I know he's one of the best kickers in football, but you can't have your kicker having a $6 million cap hit. No. That's just for a kicker. I mean, I'm not again, one of the 2 or 3 best kickers in football, one of the most clutch kickers in football. You want him to stay here, but you got to find a way to renegotiate Jake Elliott's contract. So that's what you're going to see over the next 2 or 3 days. Next week, Joe, is you're going to see these deals get restructured. You're not going to see the Jalen Hurts extension. I mark my word. You're going to get the Jalen Hurts extension, but it ain't going to happen till July 1st. I would put Bryce Harper back in the Phillies lineup before the Jalen Hurts contract extension gets done. It's going to take a while to work out all the moves. They're going to want to figure out their team, free agency, the draft, and all that kind of stuff before they figure out what money and how the year allocation of the money goes for Jalen Hurts, Joe. Sorry.
Now, do you see them doing like a Fletcher Cox deal? Remember what they did last year? They cut him and did it 1 year. Could you see that happening?
With Darius Slay or with who?
No, just like in anyone in general. Do you see that happening?
Give me a second. I'm going to move from safeties. I'm going to move to Eagles free agency. I got to look at I got Sport Track up on the side screen here. Let me see what Sport Track's got on all these contracts here. If they were going to do one of those things. Oh my God, this is free agents. Gotcha. Hold on. I gotta move to. Why can't I find? I don't want free agents. What am I doing? Anyway, before I pull it up, I don't think there's a contract that can be done with, because by cutting him, they saved a lot of dead cap money. I'm looking across the board. If you did that with Darius Slay, there's still a huge cap hit this year. Same thing with Lane Johnson. There's a huge cap hit this year with Josh Sweat. Wow.
Really? Wow.
He's making $6 million, but he's got a $19 million cap hit this year. Wow. Dead cap hit. If they cut up. That's crazy. Look, I don't see that happening. I think it's going to play around with restructurings this year versus the Fletcher Cox thing. But like I said, just be prepared. How many did you say? There's like 1,700 free agents. A lot of these guys are going to go. There's going to be a lot of new faces. Yeah. But, Mitch, everybody's overreacting, Mitch. But remember, we still got Jalen Hurts. We still got A.J. Brown. We still got Devontae Smith. We still got Dallas Goedert. We still got a great offensive line. We're still going to be one of the best offenses of football. It's can Howie Roseman maneuver these holes on defense. And I said it yesterday. You lose Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, You still got Milton Williams. You still got Jordan Davis. You still got a ton of draft capital. They'll be okay.
I think we're in a great position, honestly. And I don't know why my co-hosts are just flipping out yesterday on the episode. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Because he was just like, he's seen this time and time again. It's just like Howie Roseman's just like, going to start from scratch. But I'm like, we're in a great position here. I mean, look at the Cowboys right now. They're fighting just to get any money.
Yeah, I don't understand what it is, Mitch, because like I said in the past, Howie Roseman, it's got to be in Howie we trust because we've been here. We've done it before. We've seen this story plenty of times. And we're just stuck constantly overreacting in the city. And I know you're Mr. Negative Sixers guy. You're anti-Doc Rivers. I know. But we try to bring some positivity, but also some realisticness
Yes.
to the show.
I'm actually more happy about the Eagles than Sixers. I'm being honest right there.
I mean, they did just play in the Super Bowl, 4 weeks ago. It's not like they're
that. It's just not just that. I just love the way they're going. Like, if we did not make the Super Bowl, I would still love the way we're going based off the salary cap, the players, and everything.
Last year's Super Bowl was a bonus, wasn't it? Nobody expected. I always talk about expectations changing on this team or on this show. Teams expectations can change. And yes, once we got to 9-1 or 10-1, sure, we were talking Super Bowl. But going into last year, were we talking about Super Bowl? We were talking about winning one playoff game last year. The year before, we lost one playoff game. We wanted to see what Jalen Hurts was. Dude, 14 weeks ago, there's a lot of people that still weren't sold that Jalen Hurts was the quarterback of the future of this team. So the expectations have changed. There is going to probably be a step backwards this year of overall quality, maybe win total. But when you look at the NFC, even if we lose all these free agents, who in the NFC is going to be a better team than the Eagles? You talked about are there better quarterbacks than Jalen Hurts in the NFC? Are there many teams that you could say right now on paper, even with all the free agent holes the Eagles have, that are better than the Eagles?
You can't say that.
You can't.
Eagles are the best team from top to bottom.
I mean, San Francisco's still a really good team. You don't know what they're doing with their quarterback situation.
No.
They're still obviously a very good team. But are you going to say Dallas is better? No. Minnesota? No. The Packers don't even know who their quarterback is. And don't give me the Saints. I know people are jumping all over the Saints team. Now that they got Derek Carr. Michael Thomas hasn't played a football game in like 16 years. Alvin Kamara might be in jail. No. They don't have anybody that makes me scared. Tampa Bay, they don't have a quarterback. They got Kyle Trask listed as quarterback one. You telling me the Cardinals are going to turn it around under Jonathan Gannon? Highly doubtful. Right now, the Eagles, maybe a smidge of the Saints, the 49ers, maybe Seattle. And all those teams are much further down the list than the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't get the frustration that the Eagles fans are putting out there on Twitter right now. Now, I'm paging through Twitter while we're talking here, and there's so many comments still. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's gone. It's a big mistake, blah, blah, blah. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is not gone at this point. It's just not. And I think it's too much of a – here's one. Yeah, I mean, look, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson – here's another one. And we let Chauncey Gardner-Johnson go. Why? No, he's not gone. Just because he tweets something out, guys. Relax. I always say it on this show. Relax. Pump the brakes. Let's not get too high. Let's not get too low. Free agency doesn't start for 7 more days. You got 7 more days to negotiate it with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. If it doesn't get done, Jesse Bates is out there. There's lots of options out there. Look, nobody even knew Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was available last year. Howie Roseman pulled off the trade. We basically got a draft pick and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the Saints.
I still can't believe that happened.
Relax. If you're freaking out because today on March 8th, we might lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, just remember that he brought Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and a draft pick in here on draft day. Or not draft day, on August whatever. Middle of training camp. End of training camp. So it's a relax and wait and see thing, in my opinion, Mitch. And I think that's the whole point of this show. Relax on the Sixers. Let's not freak out because of Isaiah Joe. on another team. Relax on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Hallie Roseman. The offseason hasn't even officially began, and we're all freaking out everywhere.
It's just a Philly thing, I guess.
I don't have my Philly thing shirt on today. I did the other day. I don't have my
I saw that. I still need to get one.
Yeah, I got mine at like some gas station corner. So you notice the really ugly eagle that was on it. Cheap gas station corner shirt. I'm a cheap man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't spend big money. I just don't. I just don't. All right, Mitch. So I appreciate you jumping in here for a little bit to hang out and chit chat. Tell everybody the names of all your channels, where they find you on YouTube. And before you do that, I want to say I appreciate you always tuning in, checking in on the show, Mitch. I appreciate everybody. And if anybody ever wants to join me on the show, I'm always open to bring anybody on the show in the morning. Mitch, I always appreciate you checking in and hanging out with me in the comment section.
Appreciate it, man. So, yeah, I would love to come on anytime. You can find me on YouTube at Mitch Topsy, same with the Hardcore Sports Network. And actually, a good friend of mine, he actually started his own that I'm actually on a part of, the All-Star Sports Network. So, those three in Twitter. I'm trying to get like you, bro. I need more followers like you, bro.
The followers come. You don't need the followers as much as the interaction. You just got to be positive like me so that all the negative people can bash you. Or you be negative so all the positive people like me can bash you, whatever it is. You got to be interactive. That's what you got to do. You just got to tweet. I mean, you look at it. I tweet sometimes 30, 40 times a day. That's where the followers come from right there.
You want to hear something funny, though? When the Sixers beat the Nets, right, and they did not have Kevin Durant, I tweeted out that we were going to lose if Kevin Durant played because, honestly, that game was just atrocious. And everyone's like, Mitch, you can't say that. I got flooded. I loved it.
It's always great when you know what? Actually, it's funny because I got flooded when I shared the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson hit that got him fined in the Super Bowl. Yeah. I just got flooded with notifications that I was an idiot and this and that. Bots left in the NFL. It kind of went under the radar. The NFL rescinded his fine. He did not have to pay the fine. They realized they made a mistake. They backed the fine out. So maybe I was right, guys. The 300 notifications I got on that post. Maybe I was right. Maybe I was. All right, we're going to wrap up Trending the AM. I got to get to work here, guys. Right here on the DSM Media Network. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button. Turn notifications on. I greatly appreciate it if you watch this show on replay. Drop your comments, questions. I always go back and check them out. Respond to them all. Make sure you're following Mitch at Mitch Koski, me at Beard and Knowledge. Back tomorrow. Probably more Eagles talk tomorrow because there's no Sixers game. We get 2 days off of Sixers. Maybe we'll dive back into the Phillies a little bit. We're still waiting on the Andrew Painter update. I think the Phillies are waiting, Mitch, for something big to happen, like the Jalen Hurts contract or a big trade, or they're waiting for something big to happen with the Sixers to kind of sneak some bad news about Andrew Painter in. I didn't even get to it, by the way. Mitch, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. The report, and real quick, we'll say this real quick, that the vet turf. Did you see the report on the vet turf and the chemicals in it?
No.
So all the players that died from brain cancer that played at the vet, it was because there's chemicals in the AstroTurf that was at the vet. I got a piece of AstroTurf sitting right here, right from the vet. Should I be throwing this out? That if 6 Phillies have died because of chemicals in the AstroTurf, should this not be sitting behind me, this AstroTurf?
I don't know. I'd rather get the chair.
It's only a couple feet. It's a tiny little piece of turf. But, man, I'm kind of concerned. We'll bring that up on the show tomorrow. We'll see if I should be throwing this turf out tomorrow. So we got lots on the agenda tomorrow. Again, if you like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Also, go back and check out last night's episode of Fairway to Heaven. Yes, I know. Chris Murphy, Brian Kirshner, Pat Mayo, you all disagree with me. Patrick Cantlay is winning the Players' Championship this week. Zero doubt in my mind. It's going to happen. Go lay your bets on Patrick Cantlay. Go build your fantasy lineups. You'll get all my information on why if you go back and watch the replay of Fairway to Heaven right here on the DSM Media Network. Everybody have a great day. Thank you very much, Mitch. Thank you for everybody in the comments section. Mitch, we always end it. No matter what is going on, it's always go Birds.
Yep. Go.